This is a Japanese horror story for sleep. I will tell it slowly, in a calm and quiet voice. Please relax, and listen comfortably. Jashi. The Evil Eye. This happened when I was 14 years old. It was during winter break, and I went to stay at my uncle's mountain lodge in a rural prefecture. My uncle was still in his 30s at the time, so he didn't really feel like an uncle. He had originally planned to go there with his girlfriend, but they had just broken up. So instead, he invited me. We had always been close since I was little, so I was happy to go. My uncle had always been stylish, and ever since I was young, he had taught me all kinds of things. Hobbies, outdoor activities, music, and more. I really respected him. My uncle lived in the same city as me, and early that morning, he came to pick me up at my house. We left right away by car. The trip took about 8 hours one way, but it didn't feel that long at all. We talked, listened to music, and stopped along the way for breaks or short detours. It was a really fun drive. Eventually, we arrived near the destination and stopped at a supermarket to buy food for dinner. After that, we drove up a steep mountain road and finally reached the lodge. It wasn't very big, but it was a stylish wooden cabin with the feel of a hidden retreat. From there, I could see 2 or 3 other lodges further down the slope, but none of them seemed to be in use. That night, we had dinner outside. We had a barbecue in the yard. The meat was cheap, but everything tasted better cooked over charcoal. We grilled offal, seafood, and vegetables, and ate until we were completely full. We even cooked rice in a camping pot, and it turned out great. It was the perfect meal. After dinner, we went inside to the room with the fireplace. We watched TV and played games: PlayStation, Super Famicom, and even a Famicom. My uncle even showed me some forbidden videos, and since I was still innocent at the time, it left quite an impression on me. As it got late into the night, we started telling scary stories. My uncle was really good at that kind of thing, and his stories were genuinely frightening. If I ever get the chance, I'd like to write about them too. Then suddenly, as if he had just remembered something, my uncle spoke. Don't go into the mountain behind the lodge. He said that even the locals rarely went in there. Apparently, you could find matsutake mushrooms, but still, people avoided the place. Then he added something unsettling. The owner of one of the nearby lodges had ended his own life there a long time ago. After hearing that, I had no intention of going anywhere near that mountain. There was no way I'd go in after hearing something like that. We kept playing for a long time after that. Eventually, it was already early morning, around 5 o'clock. And finally, we went to sleep. I woke up to sunlight shining into my room. It was already past noon. I felt thirsty, so I went downstairs to get some water. On the way, I glanced into my uncle's room. He was still asleep, snoring. It was cold, but the air felt incredibly fresh. The mountain air was completely different from the city. I went back to my room, stepped out onto the balcony, and sat down in a chair. The view faced the mountain behind the lodge. At first glance, it looked like an ordinary mountain. Nothing unusual. Then I remembered that there was a telescope in the room. I suddenly felt like looking at the scenery more closely. So I brought the telescope out onto the balcony. It was high quality, and I could see very far. The town was visible in the distance. The surrounding mountains were so clear that I could even see birds resting in the trees. I was impressed. I must have been looking through it for about 30 minutes. Then, while I was looking at the trees on the mountain behind the lodge, something moved. It looked like a person. I could see its back. Its head was completely bald. It kept shaking its entire body. I wondered if it was a local person. Maybe dancing. It was holding something in its hand. A sickle. But what was strange was that it was completely naked. In the middle of winter. I couldn't make sense of it. Was it some kind of festival? But there was only one person. Its back was facing me, so I couldn't see its face. The way it moved reminded me of contemporary dance. Then I felt it instinctively. I shouldn't keep watching this. It was probably a human, but clearly not normal. It was unsettling. But my curiosity got the better of me. I zoomed in as far as it would go. The back of its head was smooth, pale. At that moment, I felt a chill run down my spine. Then, while continuing its strange movements, it slowly turned around. It looked human. It had a nose and a mouth. But it had no eyebrows. And in the center of its forehead, there was a single eye. It was vertical. My body started trembling. A one-eyed, unnatural figure. Through the telescope, our eyes met. Its mouth twisted. It was smiling. I screamed. I couldn't stop the tears. All I could think was that I wanted to die. An overwhelming, crushing despair flooded over me. I want to die. I want to die. I ran around the room in a panic, almost losing my mind. Then my uncle burst into the room. "What's wrong?" "A monster." "What?" "The telescope. The mountain." My uncle looked through the telescope. He let out a strangled groan and clutched his head. He started crying, with tears and mucus running down his face. I had calmed down slightly compared to before. "What is that thing?" I asked. "Hannah. Hannah." He cried out the name of his ex-girlfriend. I realized something was seriously wrong. For the first time in my life, I slapped someone across the face as hard as I could. My uncle's body trembled. 10 seconds passed. Then 20. Finally, he looked at me. "Evil eye," he said. "Evil eye. Listen. In the drawer of my desk, there are sunglasses. Bring them. Get a pair for yourself too." "Why?" "Just go get them." I did as he said and handed them to him. With trembling hands, he put them on and looked through the telescope again. He groaned and then motioned to me. "Put them on and take a look." I hesitated, but I obeyed. Through the sunglasses, the image was dim, but I could still see it. Our eyes met again. That same indescribable unease came over me, but it wasn't as intense as before. My heart was beating abnormally fast. Then I realized something. It wasn't in the same place as before. It was moving. Still making those strange, loose movements. But its gaze remained fixed in our direction. It was coming down the mountain. Toward us. Ichiro, do you need to pee? Why are you asking that now? If you do, there are empty plastic bottles in the kitchen. Fill one with your own water. After saying that, my uncle went downstairs. There was no way I needed to go at a time like that. I just stood there in a daze. A few minutes later, my uncle came back. He was holding a plastic bottle filled with yellow liquid. If you feel like going, use this. He handed me another empty plastic bottle. What is that thing? Something from the mountains. One of those things out there. I don't know. When I was a kid, I used to go camping in the mountains with my old man a lot. Not the hill behind here, though. Strange things happen out there. Even at night, you'd hear people talking outside the tent, but when you looked, there'd be nobody there. And when that happened, if you sprinkled a bit of piss around, it would just mysteriously stop, just like that. After saying that, he looked through the telescope again. He groaned as he continued to observe it. It's moving really slowly. I don't know how fast, but it's definitely moving. It disappeared for a moment. But I think it's heading toward this lodge. Then let's just leave. Let's go back by car. It's probably useless. Unless we take its interest away from us, it will keep following us. It might follow us anywhere. This is a kind of curse. It's called the evil eye. That thing you mentioned earlier. Yeah. But how do you know so much about it? I'll tell you if we make it out of this alive. If we make it out. You mean we're going to stay here until it comes? No. We're going to confront it. I thought it would be safer to stay inside the lodge. But my uncle insisted that we should deal with it before it reached us. Going toward something that terrifying felt insane. Running away seemed like the better option. But my uncle had always been someone I could rely on. I respected him. So I decided to follow him. We prepared ourselves. We took sunglasses, plastic bottles, some light food in backpacks, binoculars, a wooden bat, and flashlights. Then we went into the mountain behind the lodge. My uncle wanted to deal with it before it got dark. I wondered if we could really withstand its gaze. Even with sunglasses, facing it up close felt impossible. All kinds of fears ran through my mind. The mountain was larger than I had expected. We searched for it using binoculars. My uncle believed that it was moving toward us, so eventually we would run into it. We didn't want to go too deep and risk being caught in the dark. So we decided to wait in a slightly open area about 500 meters from the lodge. As long as we can take its interest away, we'll be fine, my uncle said. How are we supposed to do that? We have to get close to it, no matter what. But don't look at it directly. Look at it from the side. You understand? Don't meet its eyes. Keep it in your peripheral vision. Then throw the impure water on it. If that doesn't work. He paused. This is serious. We show it our genitals. What? The evil eye loathes the impure. Filth, waste, the hidden areas. It won't kill the thing, but if it drives it away, we might just survive. And if that doesn't work, then we run. Straight back to the car. We sat on rocks and waited, switching turns with the binoculars. The time passed. It was already past 4 o'clock. Big bro, wake up. I hear my brother's voice. He's been gone since I was 10, killed in an accident. Big bro, wake up. You're gonna be late for school. I wanted to ignore it. Just a few more minutes of sleep. Wake up, big bro. Or you're gonna die. I suddenly came to my senses. Had I fallen asleep? In that fear and tension, I looked at my uncle. He was asleep too. I quickly shook him awake. He jolted upright. I glanced at my watch. 5:30 p.m. Darkness was already closing in. Cold sweat ran down my back. Ichiro, can you hear it? Hear what? A voice? A song? I focused and listened carefully. From the bushes ahead, just a few meters away, I could hear it. It was getting closer. It sounded like a folk song. I couldn't understand the words, but the voice was high-pitched and eerie. Just hearing it made me feel like everything in the world was unbearable. Listen carefully. Only shine the light at your feet. My uncle shouted. I aimed my flashlight at the ground near the bushes. I saw its legs. They were pale, completely hairless. Its whole body twisted as it moved closer. The song was unbearably disturbing. For a moment, my thoughts stopped. It lowered its body, dropping to all fours, and brought its face into the light of the flashlight, right at my feet. I looked at it. The same emotion from earlier today washed over me. I want to die. I want to die. I want to die. Death would be better than looking at a face like that. My uncle dropped the plastic bottle and started crying uncontrollably. The flashlight fell to the ground, illuminating its body. It kept singing that incomprehensible, horrifying song. It moved on all fours, like a newborn foal, slowly coming closer. It held a rusted sickle in its right hand. I thought maybe I should just bite my tongue and die. Then my uncle's phone rang. He had been crying, but suddenly he froze. He took out his phone and stared at it. What was he doing at a time like this? We're about to die. I stared at my uncle in the dim light. The phone was still ringing. My uncle just stared at it. And then, it started coming toward me. I was so terrified that I lost control of myself. This is it. I'm going to die. Then suddenly, my uncle let out a roar. He grabbed the flashlight from the ground. He rushed toward me. He grabbed my plastic bottle. Don't look at it. I'm going to shine the light on its face. Close your eyes. I rolled frantically across the ground, my sunglasses slipping off. I clutched my head and squeezed my eyes shut. From here on, I only know what my uncle told me later. First, he shined the light on its face. Without looking directly at it, he used the impure water from my bottle. Light fixed on its face, he crouched. Then, shutting his eyes, he sprayed it onto its face like a fine mist. The creature let out a scream like a horse. He did it again. And again. He aimed for its eye. I hear it scream again, even higher and sharper than before. But it was still there. Panicked, my uncle apparently cast aside his pride and revealed himself, aiming the light at his lower body. The creature must have seen it. Spitting out a curse of raw, terrifying hatred, it turned its back. From there, I raised my head. The light illuminated its back. The most terrifying part. Even as it retreated, it was singing an eerie song, writhing its body, and moving away. Slowly. So very slowly. Like an old person walking with a cane. We kept shining the light on its back, watching. Enduring the terror, that at any moment, it might look back. After what felt like an endless amount of time, it disappeared into the darkness. We walked back to the lodge in silence. My uncle checked that all the doors were locked, and then made coffee. As we drank, I finally opened my mouth. So, with that, did you manage to distract it like you said? Yeah, most likely, he replied. My manhood had shriveled up miserably. A bitter smile crossed his face. And then, bit by bit, he began to tell me about it. About the Jashi. The evil eye. My uncle travels abroad a lot for work. I can't give details, but he's a professional engineer. It happened one day. While my uncle was staying in a city in Northern Europe, a local man, a fellow engineer who also translated for him, told my uncle he had something interesting to show him. He led my uncle down a deserted alleyway. My uncle expected a strip club, or something of the sort. But instead, he was brought into a small, grimy house. But once inside, he was stunned. The interior was nothing like the shabby exterior. Expensive carpets, ancient vases, precious metals. And the air was filled with the scent of high-quality incense. While still trying to make sense of it all, my uncle found himself captivated. He was led into a small back room. There, by the flicker of candlelight, sat a man in his 60s. The only strange thing was that, despite being indoors at night, the man was wearing dark sunglasses. According to the local man, he had the Jashi. The Jashi is a legend found all over the world. It is said that by fixing a malicious gaze on someone, one can place a curse upon the person targeted. Sickness, wasting away. They say it can even lead to death. It is also known as the evil eye, or the baleful eye, or the demonic eye. My uncle listened to the explanation, half in jest. He figured the man was just some kind of magician, or an illusionist. The seated man whispered to the local man. He said since my uncle didn't believe, he would let him experience a fraction of his power. My uncle, thinking it would be a good story, agreed. The man whispered to the local man again. I am going to tie you up. Do not misunderstand. It is only because my power is so great. You will likely struggle and thrash about. All I will do is look into your eyes with mine. For just a single moment. My uncle figured there was some trick. Some terrifying modification to the eyes. Perhaps the eyes were hideously crushed. Or maybe it was just colored contact lenses. Or maybe the incense had a hallucinogenic effect. My uncle was reluctant to be tied up. But since the local man he knew was someone he truly trusted, he agreed. The man approached my uncle, who had been tied to a chair. The local man turned his back. Quietly, he removed his sunglasses. He looked down at my uncle. I'm telling you, it was exactly like when I looked at it tonight. My uncle muttered, setting his coffee on the table. The moment our eyes met, I wanted to die. His eyes looked normal, ordinary. But suddenly, everything in the world started to feel unbearable. It only lasted a second or two. But it wasn't hypnosis. It wasn't a trick. It was something else, entirely. According to the local man, the man with the evil eye would even kill if he was paid enough. The local man also said he was being used in conflicts between local mafia groups. About a week before my uncle returned home, the man with the evil eye had died. Apparently, he had been eliminated for carrying out a job that embarrassed the organization he belonged to. The man was found dead, tied to a chair in a brothel. The floor had been strewn with filth and impurities. The man tore through the ropes with tremendous strength, and died after gouging out both of his own eyes. Like I said, the evil eye cannot tolerate impurity. Maybe he was made to look at something vile, covered in filth. A disgraceful show, or even something more. I sat there, unable to speak. Was the monster we just saw also a possessor of the evil eye? As if reading my mind, my uncle continued. I don't know if that thing was a monster, or a human raised to be that way. But I felt like just running wasn't enough. That's why I chose to face it, with my life on the line. You know how, in folklore, there's a creature called a kappa. And they say human saliva works against it. Maybe the human body works better against them than prayers or charms. As I listened, I remembered the dream about my younger brother, and told him that maybe my brother had been the one who saved me. I was crying. My uncle listened in silence, his expression serious. After about a minute, he finally spoke. Maybe so. Your brother was always more reliable than you, anyway. And remember my phone ringing. That was from my ex-girlfriend. But look, there's no signal up here. Not a single bar. It never should have rung. So, maybe those things do happen. Let's get off this mountain right now. I'm selling this lodge. I want to call her soon. He gave a bashful smile, finished his coffee, and stood up. Did you enjoy tonight's tale? If you did, please subscribe for more. Now, sweet dreams. If you can.